Welcome to the Dani Ariza Podcast. This is episode 9, and I am very fortunate to have a good friend and somebody that I admire, him and his wife, Pau, who's not here today. I got to call her out.
You have to.
Yeah. I have Jason Villamil from Sky Marketing.
Yep.
How's it going, man?
Good, man. Good. I'm very happy to be here, and it's great to be part of your show and part of this. It's really cool.
Thanks a lot for coming. Listen, I wanted to talk to you because I don't know how to say it, but like I admire what you guys have done.
Yeah.
I've known you for now a good chunk of time, like maybe 10, 15 years.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And I know Pau for since we were kids. But I've seen how you guys have gone from nothing to here. And it's like every day there's something brand new.
I know. There's always something that's coming along. I feel like we're on the right track. I feel like we have the right team. We have the right energy. And it took a long time, man. It took a long time to get here. I mean, it literally took me about 8 years. And after 8 years, I was like, I think I can make a living from this. Yeah. But 8 years down, it was just like the struggle. It was hard. I feel like what I have learned is something that they don't really teach you anywhere. It's very hard. Like you have to be exposed. You have to be at all these restaurants. You have to know the good and the bad. You have to meet so many people, and you just have to keep on changing, innovating, learning.
Yeah. But let me ask you, because I know what you do, but other people don't. What do you do?
I mean, I'm basically a branding, marketing consultant for restaurants. Mm-hmm. So I'll say 80% of my clients are restaurants, and about 20 is a bunch of other businesses, which is great. But my niche was created around food, and I specialize in creating the brands and specialize in creating all the visual of that restaurant. So from the exterior to the interior, to the feel of the menu, to the menu itself, to the digital boards, to anything that is visual in the marketing and physical world. That's what I do.
Yeah, because I've seen you. I mean, you help. I mean, basically the whole image of, from the moment that they come in, that you take care of everything.
Yeah, and I guide them, and I tell them the good, I tell them the bad. Some owners or some business owners, they really like me at the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. Some owners, they look at me like, hey, listen, you're crazy, get out of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for me, it's about creating a brand, and I guess a lot of business owners, they forget that. They want to open. Yeah. But they forget about all the details about branding, about, how important it is to have all your digital media presence correctly, about having a really good menu, about having really good photography. Mm-hmm. And photography is the main reason how I got here.
Yeah, and I mean, that's how I, because I remember, I've known Pau since I was maybe 11, 12. And I remember when how long have you guys been? You've been for a long time.
10 years.
10 years. But I remember seeing you, on Instagram back then, and you were taking pictures of, because you started as a photographer, and you were taking pictures in concerts.
Yeah.
I remember pictures of Juanes.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other people. And back then, I was taking pictures too. It was I had a brief.
Yeah, it was. I got involved in the concert world. I knew Mark Anthony's tour manager, and I knew his guitarist, and I knew a bunch of people in the music industry, in the Latin music industry, mm-hmm. right? And then I did Juanes, I did Juan Luis Guerra, I did Romeo Santos, I did Mark Anthony.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
I did J Balvin's, J Balvin's first concert.
Yeah,
in US.
Yeah,
and it's crazy because I had a big conversation with him right before he went onto stage. And that day he said, hey, listen, why don't you come to the city with me so you could keep taking pictures? And believe it or not, I said no. Listen, I'm busy. I have work tomorrow. And to this day, it's still, it's something that it was like an open door that was there. And then, hey, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. Concert photography wasn't me. You know?
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved all the people that I met. I loved being there, but I wanted something else.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, it's kind of like me. I used to do a lot of maternity shoots. I did some weddings, and I mean, I still love doing photography, but it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you don't learn. You have to go through a process to get to where you want to be. You have to go through every single thing too.
And that's how Sky was created.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I focused a lot of my younger years into photography. Then I went to college for computer science. So then in college, I focused a lot on graphic design, coding, which was crazy because I was the only Colombian and Latino in the computer program class.
Where did you go?
FDU.
FDU.
Everybody else was, Asian.
Yeah.
Which is great. Got a lot of Asian friends, but there's not a lot of Latinos in that industry. So I went through a lot of like art or learning a lot of the mediums, right?
Mm-hmm.
Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, photography, video. So like I got my hands involved in a lot of creativity components.
Yeah.
And that's how Sky was built.
Yeah. So you started, so you went from taking pictures or in concerts, and then you went to, if I'm not mistaken, to doing menus, right?
Yeah.
Doing menus for restaurants.
Doing menus for restaurants.
Yeah. How was that? Like, what does it take to do a menu in a restaurant?
It was the start of a new phase when it comes to marketing for restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of restaurants didn't believe in photography. You used to go to a restaurant and you didn't see anything. It was just wording, right? When I came in, and actually one of my first customers is, Noches de Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
I was about 17 years old, and I came in and I said, listen, I think for everybody to learn qué es una bandeja paisa, qué es un chorizo, qué es una morcilla, we have to take pictures of everything. And we set that menu up, and that was it was very successful. That's one of the reasons why Noches is because of that menu.
I'm going to say, like, because Noches, I mean, talking to my non-Hispanic friends, they know Noches.
Yeah.
They know Noches. And for them, everyone has told me before, it's like, okay, I go to Noches, and I actually, like, when I see it, I'm like, okay, that's what I want to eat.
Yeah.
Because if you put and you say, hey, here's a chorizo, people will go like, oh, what's a chorizo? Or here's a churrasco. And they don't know, it's a churrasco. Yeah. So and yeah, I mean, like, going to Noches for the past, God knows how many years. I think every Hispanic around here in New Jersey knows about that. Yeah, you realize that that's a huge thing of just seeing like el pan de bono and, and seeing it in a way that's enticing. And it's just like, it's clearly something that sells,
Yeah, I mean, it's when I was dealing with that, when I was starting to deal with Noches, I mean, I was young, but I looked at this brand and I spent about 12 years in this brand, and from the logo to the menu to even some of the names that we named some of these plates, they all came, from somewhere. You know? And I looked at American restaurants and American marketing and what other restaurants were doing that were much bigger. Mm-hmm. And I try to bring that energy towards this Colombian restaurant, this Colombian brand. But I never pushed the Colombian brand as being like folkloric or like heavy with like a lot of colors or fonts or like, you know what I mean? They're like that folkloric Colombian culture. I stay like in the middle. So that way we're like open to everybody. Yeah. And before Instagram, I felt like the menu was like Instagram, because every single plate was a photo, And then that was a big learning curve for me. I mean, being part of that brand and dealing with so many things. I remember setting up the online ordering for them. And we were like the first Latin restaurant, I think, in the States that was selling bandeja paisa online. Yeah. And the owners would look at me and say, we're going to sell bandeja paisa online? This is before Uber Eats. I mean, this is before like a lot of the big boom of
Yeah.
delivery, and it worked. And it worked, and I'm happy and I'm proud of being part of that time.
Yeah, because I remember, don't you? I mean, part of your business is also isn't Sky Order. You have like a platform for ordering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is it still? Do you still have that, or
I
how?
do, I do, I do.
Yeah.
It's called Sky Digital Ordering.
Yeah.
And it's an online ordering platform for restaurants that I built because it was a big niche for it.
Yeah.
I felt like Uber Eats and DoorDash, they cannibalize like each other, and then they eat from the owner.
Yeah.
They take 30% of the sale from technology that's not really like wow.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. Yeah.
So I created that for them. And eventually that's getting somewhere. We got about 30 restaurants on that platform, and hopefully we keep on going with that. But that's the side of technology for Sky.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 3 pillars.
Mm-hmm.
We have branding, we have social media, and technology. So that's part of that division.
Yeah, and then we were talking off camera. So you guys have like a Sky Food now, or
The Sky Food Network is basically in a space for chefs and for restaurant owners that want to find where to buy things, or get new information on what's happening in the industry when it comes to restaurants and so on and so forth. But that's in the works.
That's in the works. Yeah.
That's in the works.
Yeah. Even though I saw the Instagram page, it's blowing up.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean, we it's real. Those are real followers. Like it's.
Yeah, no,
like,
I saw. I was like, I always check. I always check I'm like,
we don't buy followers.
Yeah,
That
I was like,
horrible.
are they buying followers? No,
No,
these guys are real. But you know what? We were talking about like real estate being sexy.
Yeah.
Food is sexy. People love to see food.
Yeah.
And they just like, if you know how to take the picture, because it is, I have to say, someone who has tried it, it is very, very difficult to take a good picture of a plate.
Of food.
Yeah. Food. Yeah, it's very difficult. Like it doesn't like you actually have to like, I mean, you can tell me more, but like you have to put the right lighting and everything into it.
100%. I mean, it's all about the lighting, and it's also about the planning, and we still, like, Paola and I, we go and we get,
yeah, I've seen you. Yeah.
We actually go and get more insights, and we learn, and we go into like, with other professors that teach us more about lighting,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think that's part of us that I never stop learning, you know what I mean? Even when I look at a good photo that we take, I'm like, wow, that's great, but I feel like it needs to be better,
Yeah.
But lighting is key for food, lighting is super important, and it's crazy because you think that you need a lot of lighting, and you don't. You only need one really good light.
Yeah.
One main source of light. And it's usually going to be either on your 11 o'clock or your 1 o'clock, depending on where, how you're looking at your plate. And you just go with it. Or natural lighting is the best. Natural lighting is really nice, but obviously, you have a time limit.
Yeah, you have a time limit.
At the beginning, I use a lot of natural lighting.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't afford any of these, any of the soft boxes. I mean, I remember me getting paid like $500 for a photo shoot, and then I had to run to New York City to buy a strobe.
Yeah.
And that's what my $500 were in the strobe. You know, so but that was a start. But yeah, lighting is really.
I mean,
really
photography, video, and all of that is I feel like it's such a tough business, because you're constantly competing. Like there's always people that are like doing something better, and every year you have new products that just make it easier for you to do things, and that just means like paying a lot for equipment. So when people come back and say, hey, I could just do that, no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it's not just about buying equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, with anything,
Yeah.
any career, it takes a long time
Yeah.
to really, really understand like where you're going.
Yeah, which I did going to that point. Like, what would you say has been the key for your success? And like, like, let's talk about how you have learned to do many different things, and like that path that it didn't start there, but somehow it got there. Like you didn't know it at first, and like so many people a lot of people want certainty. in their life and they want to know that, hey, that's where I'm going. But sometimes you just don't know where you're going.
No.
You just have to start walking.
Yeah, I mean, and it's something at the office that everybody knows me at the office is I always say, one step at a time. And, I'm a big believer in like not worrying so much. I mean, worried is like having worried every day is you shouldn't because it really challenges your mind of where you're going. If you worry less and you trust yourself and you trust your inner gut or your inner mind of where you're going, and you put that worry to the side, everything is going to open up.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm telling you, I built this company from zero, from nothing, just from a lot of hunger of being successful, but now that we're somewhat successful is now we have other big challenges to overtake, right? Because we still keep on growing. But I really try not to worry, be part of like my daily, I guess scary type of way of thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, listen, worry doesn't do. I mean, if you could get paid money for worrying, everyone would be rich.
Everybody would be rich.
Yeah, and I think it's good to worry. It's good to have urgency in life. But yeah, just simply worrying for worrying doesn't do anything unless you're actually willing to go ahead and take action on it.
Yeah, you have to control that too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You have to control that.
Yeah.
You have to trust yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, there's just so many. It's impossible to know what's going to come.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell people, I come across this when it comes to real estate where when people buy houses and everyone worries. Everyone is like, oh, should I be doing the right thing? Should I be done? And then 6 months later, they go like, oh, I did the right thing. And yeah, there's some times where things don't go the right way. But for the most part, just people like, they're freaking out about something that's big in life. And, but yeah, it's just about taking that step, just about taking that step. So tell me, now you're doing mostly like restaurant consulting? Is that like the? I mean, I know you do pretty much everything, but like, is that just?
Yes. I mean, I think that's the end result that I really want to do, and the way that it came about was people just started calling me and say, "Hey, listen, I love your work. I love everything that you have done. Can you help me put this together?" And now I've been in the restaurant industry for such a long time, and I was like, sure. I mean, I know providers, I know electricians, I know contractors, I know where to buy things. I also get exposed to a lot of insights. Like I go to restaurant expos all the time. Like I know what's trending. I know packaging. Like there's a lot of components that I know that help my clients get their work done easier, get their project done easier. So then customer comes in and say, Jay, I really want you to do my logo, but then I really want you to do my menu, and then can you just design the place?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're getting into that. I mean, this is brand new for me, but we already designed like 6 restaurants.
Wow.
And they're really nice. I mean, like, I'm really proud.
I mean, the pictures that you showed me for the cigar lounge, that's amazing.
In Hackensack, we're doing a cigar lounge. It's called Cigarro.
Yeah.
And the owners are very cool. And they say, hey, listen, I trust you. Just show me what you could do. And it's crazy because I did a coffee shop in Hackensack too called Cafe Baides.
Mm-hmm.
And that came out beautiful, small place. And then from that one, the contractor was like, hey, I really want to work with you too. Like the contractor was like, wow, you did such a great job. So now that same contractor is doing the other spot in Hackensack. So things start connecting,
Yeah. But doesn't it give you that, that confidence? It's nice to have that confidence now that you're like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I know, like, when you go in, it's much easier to go and talk to a client when you actually believe in yourself and you know that, hey, I've done this before.
Yeah.
It just had a lot easier. But let me ask you, so I'm a brand new, I want to open up a restaurant and I come to you. How does that work? Like, what are the first things that you're going to look at? And
I go through this a lot. I had a meeting last time with the coffee shop owner, and then I'm like, well, what's your name? What's going to be the name of this place?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I don't know. So then I'm like, well, you got to figure that out. And then the other thing is like, what are you selling? What's different? What's different about your restaurant that's different from the rest? So I think once you create that name and you create that product and you create that service as well, because you have to know about service. You have to know about hospitality, You can't just open a restaurant just because you have some good cooking. You have to have really good service too.
There's a lot of really good cooks out there that don't sell,
That don't sell, of course. So name is really important. Product is super important. And then location. Location is prime. I mean, like, if you're able to get a good lease at a good place and look at your customer audience too, like, you want to make sure that you're going to open up a restaurant that's, in a good neighborhood, has a good income ratio, has some foot traffic, has parking, has things that really check the list, then it works.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, it has to do with the experience too, right? When you go into a place, you want to feel like, okay, this is nice.
That part of the experience is that what we create when we start designing the interior and we start designing the menu and we start designing all the experience that the customer is going to touch and feel. But at the beginning, I really focus on like what makes that restaurant different, and what's the difference between me going to this Colombian place and having another Colombian place and why I want to go there. So like if you're really onto something, you have to have a product that's gonna like be the catcher.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the hook. And then you can have a bunch of other stuff in the menu that's like everybody else, but you have to have that hook.
Yeah.
To make yourself different. And then it's my job to make you look good and create that experience.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, looking at the pictures from the cigar place, like, like, I don't know if you are able to talk a little bit about like why those colors, why black, and you kind of like, I mean, I know cigars are supposed to be like that, but what went into that decision of just making it? And I'll probably try to show maybe a picture later.
I'll share you the renderings. 100%. Well, Cigar Lounge is like, we decided to do this bookshelf entrance. It's like you walk into the lobby and like you have to walk through a bookshelf. The bookshelf is going to remain closed, but you have to walk through it. So it gives it that like speakeasy type of vibe. And it's actually called an academium interior design style. So that means that it's like luxury, high-end, leather, bookshelving, smart, because cigars is like a whole topic. Like I'm learning about cigars right now. I mean, like I don't know a lot about it, but there's different, and it's a whiskey bar too. So like you gotta like whoever's gonna go in there knows their stuff.
Yeah.
Or it could be like me that I really don't know a lot and I'm gonna learn. So it's a space for me to learn about cigars and whiskey and taste and this and that. It's another world.
Yeah.
It's another hobby. Let's say.
Yeah.
Right. Cigars, expensive hobby.
Yeah.
So the way that we created is we created it dark. We created it. The bar I decided to do red. Red is a strong color. Red means like I'm here. A lot of the big brands have red in them.
Yeah.
Because that's what it means. So I did the bar in this red tile. That's really strong, and everything else is black and like very dark. Yeah. But I'll show you the renderings and you can see.
No, I mean, it looks amazing. Yeah. Now, what goes into, I mean, this is something that a lot of people just, like, so what goes into like a logo? Like what, so many people are so quick to just get any logo, anything out there just to like, hey, I have a logo, I'm legit, But what goes into it? Because I know it's a big part of the marketing strategy.
It's huge. I mean, logo is essential. I mean, it's the most important thing. It connects with your interior. It connects with your exterior. It connects with your packaging. Like logo has to be on point, and it takes a while. I mean, I've done a lot of rebrands of logos. Of like people have a logo for like 5 years and they're like, we outgrew it. Which that happens too. Or I have done logos that were good for that time and then the business changed. Now it's time to, revamp. But that's a good question. What really makes a good logo? Logo needs to be simple, but simple is hard. Like
It's
simple
hard.
is really hard to make. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, I just want it simple." Simple is really difficult to get. It takes a while to really get the simple out of that symbol that you're looking for, or if you're gonna do a combination, and then the logo needs to be connected to your name.
Yeah.
So like if your name is, I guess let's put it like a realtor, right? A lot of realtors use, I guess, their initials.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So we got to make sure that those initials are, they look strong, they look modern, they look presentable.
Yeah.
Um, and it's all about creating three different types of environments. Like I create three different types. I create a modern environment. I create a decorative, which is like modern but then more heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I create like something super simple. And then from there, we discuss, like which door you want to go through. And then once you pick a door, then we try to like work on that, and we get to the finish line. I've had logos where it took me literally 30 minutes to do,
Yeah.
and then they're like super successful, and they're great. It was easy to do. And then I had logos that I've been like chasing down for like 6 months, and just trying to like figure it out. And then eventually we just crack it. It's like you're doing like a puzzle.
Yeah.
And you start just like pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and finally you present it to the customer, and they're like, "Wow, this is great."
Yeah,
This
because
is
sometimes I
me.
think about the ones that stand, obviously being in financial services, that's usually what I always look at. But like, I don't know if you're familiar with J.P. Morgan,
Chase. Yeah.
yeah, or Goldman Sachs. Even
Simple.
yeah, simple, but it's like I feel like such a hard thing to do. Like, it's very difficult just to put like, okay, because you're looking at it, yeah, there's nothing here, but like there's so much there. Like when I look at like JP Morgan, it's like, holy crap, this is like you look at the logo and you go like, I mean, maybe because it's such a long time that they've been hitting you with it, but it's like, hey, this is like class. This is like one of a kind experience. This is like bare people, knowledgeable people that know exactly what they're doing. And it's like, as soon as you see it,
And a lot of these logos change through time and through culture. I mean, if you look at like JP Morgan's first logo, it's
Yeah.
very heavy and decorative and like,
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
It goes with culture. It's like clothing. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like a trend as well.
Yeah.
If you look at the logo now, it's like super modern, super to the point, very straight on, very futuristic. And if you go on their website, it's the same thing. If you go inside the Chase Bank, it's the same thing. So like that's what I mean. The logos connect with everything. I mean, imagine having a super heavy logo, super decorative, like back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and then having a very modern website.
Yeah.
It doesn't match.
Doesn't match.
So everything really needs to connect and match together.
Yeah. What do you think about the new Jaguar logo? I think I saw you posting something about it.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like different. I feel like I feel like you have to feel uncomfortable with logos to start to like them.
Yeah.
I also tell my customers, like, when you look at a logo, it's like hearing a song for the first time. Like when you put a first song that you never heard before, you're like, do I like this or don't I like this? And then like 5 minutes later, or maybe a day later, you're like, I want to listen to it every day.
Yeah.
This is my jam. So it's the same thing. You look at a logo first, and maybe if you feel intimidated, maybe you feel, like it's not you. But then you start thinking on like about the future. You start thinking about the reason why I created this for you, and then everything starts clicking in, and you'll be like, makes sense.
That is such a big thing because now that you say it, there's so many times where I have just played around and like I posted something on my personal, private page of, kind of like a logo. But every time you see something like that, but yeah, like you don't realize whether you like it or not until later on.
Yeah.
You don't know where, like, I mean, I guess it's like the same thing with photography. Sometimes you'll take a picture and you go like, I don't like this picture. And then I don't know if you still do it. I probably don't have the time, but I'll go back to my pictures from time to time. And, you know, because I keep editing in my computer. And I go like, wow, that was a really good picture.
Yeah.
And, you know, at that moment in time, I was probably like, you know, wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah. What about color? Like, what goes into a color?
Color is super important. I mean, I think we talked a little bit about the red, right?
The
that I
red,
use
yeah.
at the bar. I mean, look at Facebook. It's blue. Blue is trust. Look at Chase. It's blue. Blue creates trust. That's what it means. Red, red by itself, it means strength. But when you combine red with an orange or with a yellow, then it's like food. So a lot of the big chains are yellow and red or orange tones. Then you look at purple. Purple is like creativity. You know, you could still do like a lot of banking on it. You know, there's some banks that use purple, but at the same time, it also means like innovative, like, you know, a little bit different. So colors are huge, man. I mean, colors is really important, but I don't pick the color at the beginning. I pick the color at the end. So I first come up with all my sketches and my layouts and my design. And then at the end, I add the tone. Because now these days, there's a lot of gradients that you could use. And then there's like the physical world logo and then the digital world logo. Yeah. Sometimes in the physical world, you cannot get to certain colors that you see on your phone because it's different. You know, the machines print different, the way the manufacturers are different. So that's why we have to create standards. I mean, like a booklet.
Yeah.
A brand guideline booklet. So where there you have your digital colors, and then you have your physical colors, then you know the sizes. You know, because then sometimes what happens is when you don't have a brand booklet, you send your logo, right, like a PDF to the guy that's gonna make your T-shirts, and then you go pick up your T-shirts, and there's like, what happened to my logo? Oh, I couldn't find the dot or the font or whatever, you know, specification you wanted, and now you have a different variation of your logo.
Yeah.
So it's like the brand booklet has to be connected to your fonts, to your color, to your, you know, to everything.
Yeah, I mean, physical is like it's such a you know, I don't know if you ever did like when you did a wedding, you offer prints. It's so like it's not just printing it. Like you gotta know exactly how the color is gonna come out on that print.
Yeah.
And when you're doing it in the computer, you gotta make sure that the colors really match. You know, and you learn that. I learned that the hard way when I try to go into the printing, and then it's like, this is not how it's gonna come out. It's not how it's gonna come out. But I mean, going to another subject, which is, you know, kind of like going back to food, right? Like, does that click on it? Like, so like, you know, like depending on the food, like if it's an Italian place, would you say, okay, this is how it's gonna have to be, how I'm gonna design this for an Italian place? Or
well, there is a lot of inspiration that I do at the beginning. There's a lot of communication with the owner that I do, that I try to learn from him. So I try to grab that energy from him and try to make it work. I try to explain to my customers or to anybody that sometimes I design thinking on the customer. I don't really design on what Jason likes or what the owner likes. I design on like who's gonna come through that door, and how they're gonna feel. But getting a little bit more, I guess you mean, I guess, like connecting the colors with the plate and the food. Yeah, I mean, when we're actually doing a photo shoot at these places and the plate comes out a little funky and it doesn't have enough color, or maybe it's just like one tone.
Yeah.
Then it's like we gotta add a little bit of green in here, or we gotta add a little bit of texture, or we gotta separate this a little bit more. Maybe this side we gotta put it somewhere else. So yeah, color is a big impact in photography, 100%, especially in food photography.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe it's my fault that some people get hungry because I sometimes
I am one of those.
I push a little bit of the color in some of these.
Yeah,
edits.
I am one of those that's always sending messages.
Yeah.
Whenever I see, I'm like, hey, I want that.
Yeah, I mean, we did a little bit of editing in that photo. We maybe boosted up a little bit of the saturation, the clarity. Um, but yeah, colors really have to be
Yeah, you gotta
attractive.
And not for nothing, but you gotta develop the eye to do these things, you know.
And when it comes to like an Italian place, yeah, I mean, I come up with like an inspiration of like where we going, you know, what type of food it is, maybe what type of Italy, you know, because food is very unique because I mean you could have a Italian restaurant, but in Italy there's a lot of different spaces of Italian food, how it's served, how it's cooked, and in any country.
Yeah,
So I try to like grab that essence from wherever
match the culture.
from wherever the chef is or from wherever the background is, and try to like unite that to the space.
Yeah.
You know.
Now let's talk about social media, and kind of I have some questions myself on like like kind of I've seen you create a lot of social media accounts from nothing to something significant. Like what's your advice for someone kind of like me with this podcast? I'm just literally starting.
No, you're doing good, man.
Yeah,
You're
no,
doing
thanks.
good. I mean, first you got something good, which is consistency.
Yeah.
That's number one. Like I tell my customers, like, I wouldn't even say customers, my friends, people that call me. Listen, you got to create a consistency plan. And you have a plan right now. So that's number one, nice plan. Number two is like, you got to stay on track of that plan, making sure that you're creating that content that's unique, that's different, that's making you stand out. And then also you want to attack from different angles. You know what I mean? Like you could create maybe like this podcast is a little longer, and then you could create like smaller clips for certain more educational stuff, So you want to like diversify a little bit, within. And then just have a good presence, look very professional, logo, colors, nice clean website too that connects to it. And then start doing things that are unique, that is yours, Social media, it's a world, it's more like a portfolio now these days. It's more like a business card that shows your creativity, but does it really mean that you have 1 million followers, that you're successful? That's where people get lost.
Yeah.
And it's not true. Like we had a video that blew up, 59.9 million views.
Wow.
It was crazy for a laundromat that we handle.
Oh, the one in Norbergen?
The one in Norbergen. Actually, Laura is in the video. And it went viral. It went viral. I mean, I'm talking about like it went viral. Like every second was do. Were we expecting that people are lining up at the door, getting their clothes done? No. We had other accounts that blew up in food as well. Were we expecting like 1 million people outside the door? Not really.
Yeah.
Do sales tend to connect? Yeah. Throughout time, throughout consistency, throughout brand awareness, throughout creating things that engage, And it's all about trying, staying consistent, being relative, creating content, having a calendar.
That's me.
Having a calendar where when you're gonna post in, what the story is about. And I mean, the person that really knows about social media is Paola, my wife.
Which that's why I wanted to talk to her.
I know, but I'm not really in that department 100%.
Yeah, because I've seen. I mean, she had wedding inspirations, was it?
Yeah. That's one of the reasons how we met. I was helping her with this wedding inspirations website.
Yeah.
And she was in the wedding industry when I met her, and in the footwear as well.
Yeah.
And
she was always in marketing, right?
Yeah.
She was always in marketing. Yeah. I social media, like it's so on point that you said, look, it's more like your business card.
Yeah.
Social media is your business card.
And don't get so caught up on like how many likes, how many followers, how many, that's important. But unfortunately, that also can bring a lot of people down. But that builds with time. You know what I mean? If you look at some of these big, very successful, Instagram accounts, they took a long time. You know, if you look through the history, you look 5 years ago, you'd be like, damn, you know,
Yeah.
they had nothing. You know, now it's like, you know, because it was consistency, it was time, and things, you know, when is the right time for you is the right time. So
And it's just learning different things. The more you do it, I myself on this podcast, you know, I'm like, you know, this is my 8th episode, I don't know, whatever. But it's like, you know, you learn how to talk, you learn how to 9 episodes, yeah, 9 episodes. But you learn how to talk, you learn how to communicate, you learn how, like, you know, how to do follow-ups is hard. And you know, the same thing with the social media. I've like been posting for the past a month or so, and it's like, okay, I know this works, I know this doesn't work, and you know, I keep telling people like, you just got to start. You know, and like every other business that I've been involved, even with the mortgages, like you know, like at one point I didn't know what I was doing.
I mean, listen, social
Yeah.
media is like the modern way of doing advertising. Yeah, I mean, look at back in the day. Let's say back in the day there was no more social media. What did you do? Newspaper, TV.
Yeah.
So what happened? You created content for the TV. You created copy for the newspaper. You created a graphic design, a poster for a billboard. You know, that was like back in the day. Or you did Millers. So if you transform that into like a story, into a reel, is the same. You could say that it's like about the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's in a different platform.
Yeah.
So it's like it's part of you growing your business. It's part of you having a budget for marketing. I mean, if you have a business right now in 2025 and you don't have at least 10% of your sales and a budget for marketing, then you have to. It's a demand for any business, even for me. I have to be on social media.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be on social media.
I mean, people, you might be the best one out there, but if people don't know you, hey,
Of
you know,
course.
good luck. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of really good people out there, but we just don't know about.
Now, I mean, and also there's a lot of shady stuff out there too. So you also have to be careful.
Well, I think you have to be able to match your operations to your marketing. You know, at least for me, I'm doing this now because I'm at the point where I have the support, and I've been able to actually say, okay, you know, I'm comfortable that by me spending the time doing all these things is not going to, you know, have a negative impact on me getting my mortgages done. You know, at the end of the day, you know, people come to you because they want, at least when they come to me, is because they want to get a house and they want to get their finances. So if I'm out there posting, you know, it's like, okay, you know what? Hey, I see you on social media all the time, but where's my mortgage? You know?
Yeah, I mean, now you're talking about service. Service is really important, man. Like service is, you know, I mean, I did my mortgage with you. It was a great experience. We had a great result.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. You also want to make sure that you're growing your business gradually and feeling comfortable in different areas. And service is number one, man. I mean, like for me at Sky, I tell my girls, I tell my staff, hey, service is number one, you know. We have to. I mean, there's, like you said, there's always somebody more talented than you or somebody better or somebody with more experience. But sometimes the service is the reason why they picked you. You know? Like if you have really good service and you have a good portfolio and you have a good way of dealing with people, there's no way you're going to be turned down.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, in operations too. I mean, you were saying how you're able to do the things that you're able to expand and look into the new fields because you have a pretty good operation going on right now.
Yeah. You have to. I mean, and also you can't be afraid of delegating or teaching.
That's
like Laura, she knows how to take photos, and she knows lighting, and she knows how to set up, and you know how to put everything down, and maybe one day she'll be
good job, Laura.
She'll be she'll be one of the main shooters for Sky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my wife is better than me now. You know, like my wife.
And she didn't take pictures before, right?
No. She had a passion for it, which is great. But I always supported her 120%. So it's like, hey, you want to get into this? I'll give you all the tools and I help you, and you know, let's go. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be ready just to for whatever hits you. Because sometimes, if you get busy, what are you gonna do? You're gonna turn down business. You know, you have
Yeah,
to you
yeah.
have to be
You
able
gotta
always.
adapt.
It's a game, like business. Being in business and being having your own business is really a game.
It
You
is.
have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to handle the pressure. You know, you have to be able to just be fully ready to like go.
Yeah, and then you also want to have a good balance. I feel like also another thing that I kind of clash is like a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of business owners. Sometimes they think that you gotta go harder. You gotta wake up at 5 a.m. You gotta. Some things don't really flow like that. In my eyes, and this is my opinion. Sometimes you have to have other priorities, and you have to go with your pace, and you have to prioritize your family first. And if you're gonna get to the hill, you're gonna get to the hill, but everybody together. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's the way that I look at things sometimes. And that pressure of like, uh, that energy is great, but I rather have a more consistent, low energy and more productivity in low volumes than have a
Yeah.
and then crash. So and that's part of my growth is I've been consistent just chiseling at it one day at a time. One day at a time, one day at a time. I don't just go and be like start drilling, get me a bigger hammer. No, like leave me with a little hammer, close the door, I'll be here.
Yeah.
So gradually just keep on, riding. That energy and that thing, I feel like it's just, it's really easy to burn. It's really easy to just get out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, listen, and being seeing people all the time say, "Hey, we gotta hustle. We gotta just keep on pushing. Yeah, you gotta keep on pushing, but like emotionally, it takes a toll on you. Like I've been in situations where I'm like all the time go, and I just like oh I can't do this anymore.
Oh, no. I mean,
Yeah.
like, listen, before Sky, I had another company, and I had another marketing company. I had a partner. I was there from like 9 a.m. to freaking 9 p.m. because I was go, 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 go. My daughter was born,
Yeah.
Amelia. Her first 1 year, 2 year, I don't even remember like changing her diapers because I was so focused into this thing, you know? And out of nowhere, that thing just collapsed.
Yeah.
And that was a big learning curve for me because I was like, nah, my kids is first, my family's first, my wife is first. And then go, go, go. I'll go, go, go. But give me my time. You
Yeah,
know.
no, I mean, you just had to do it right.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to do things right. And isn't it amazing how kids just teach you how to like slow down?
Yeah. I mean, my
Yeah,
wife slowed me down. Yeah, my wife and my kids slow me down.
yeah,
I
it's
mean, my wife, I have learned a lot from her. I mean, she's been the one that puts the brakes on me. And I also feel like, en español, lo que es de uno.
hmm
So like, con el tiempo todo se va a abrir, todo se va a organizar, todo encaja en su lugar. And it's funny because I told my Amelia, I told my 7-year-old, I said, hey, when you're doing something and you feel like it's not flowing, like design, it's not meant to be.
hmm
You know what I mean? Like design needs to flow. Things need to flow into place, like, a cup needs to go in a certain thing, and it needs to fit in. When things don't really fit in and you're like doing something that's like not working, like you're just doing it on circles, things are not looking good, maybe you should take a step back.
Yeah, I mean, honestly with everything. Sometimes you start with a business and you realize like, hey, I enjoy this. This is easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's problems. It's not. I mean, let me rephrase that. This is hard, but it feels easy to face the challenge. And yeah, many times it's just like a lot of people just stuck to it, and they're like they have the mentality of like, hey, I'm not doing it, I'm gonna figure it out, and I'm gonna figure it out, and maybe you don't have to figure it out. Maybe it's not meant for you to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe, like, hey, let me just go ahead and, I had that feeling with photography myself, where like I love photography. I love taking pictures of golf courses. I love taking pictures of weddings. I love all that stuff. But I never had, it just felt uneasy to like go and do a wedding by myself. I never felt comfortable. And it just like, and I love taking pictures of weddings.
Yeah.
And then I was like, but this is just too, it makes me completely like, I just don't like it.
It's not your zone.
It's not my zone. And you know what? I was like, no, this is not me. I'll step away.
Look for something else.
Look for something else. So it's important. Like I can imagine too with like design and all of that. It's just like, like you have to just feel it. You have to feel it.
You gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta be very secure.
Yeah.
When you're not secure about yourself, and we talked about it at the beginning of this, is like secure is number one, man.
Yeah.
You have to own it. Maybe you feel like you're not ready for it, but once you feel ready, you're like, all right.
I can tell you, even with this podcast, I did some last year, season 1, and this year it just felt the right when I went into this. Yeah, I wasn't ready, but it just felt like, hey, I am ready to take on this challenge and to grow this passion project. And, just a lot of things like that with life,
No, I mean, I'm really happy that you're doing this. I think, hopefully I'll be back in another episode.
We're definitely, hopefully we get Paolo.
We get Paola back in here. Maybe everybody from Sky could be back in this podcast.
I would absolutely, because that's the other thing. You don't do these things by yourself. Like when I'm dealing with a client, it's not just me.
Yeah.
It's not, it's the attorney, it's the real estate agent, it's the title company, it's the inspection guy, it's the family members that are helping, it's everyone.
Everybody.
And you have to just go ahead and be able to manage all those relationships and everything. And in business, honestly, like you cannot do things by yourself.
No.
And look, I see you have a great teammates. And I love how always on social media you're putting everyone there, because it's really like, yes, you might be the owner, but it's not, it's the whole team that's doing everything. Yeah.
And that's true. I mean, I think in every post that I talk about any project that we do, I'm very grateful for my team. I mean, like Jason couldn't just do all these services. It would be insane.
You're good, but you're not that good.
And you have to embrace that. I mean, I love my team. I mean, the reason why I didn't really also like photography is the photography was very absorbing to Jason, because everybody wanted me to do their wedding and their Sweet 16 and their photos. So I never had time to, I was like, if I grow this photography thing, I'm always going to be the star.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like being always the star. No, I mean, like, it's gonna time and point where I actually like working behind, closed doors. So that's why Sky was created, because I just wanted to create a very talented group of people that know design, that know how to get things done, that know everything that we're working on, and that we could build these things faster and more efficient.
It's not, honestly, photography, to me, photography is not scalable because it's an art.
It's an art, yeah.
And I don't care what people say. I know, like, people, like, you cannot, like, you are a great photographer. I could be a great photographer. We're not going to have the same picture all the time.
No.
Never. Especially for something like it just the eye, like how you see things, it just completely never. And those things are, to me, it's a very difficult business to scale.
It's really
and
hard.
probably like, the people that make a lot of money is because they charge per job, and they'll take a small amount of jobs where they have control and they have gotten to that. But you can't really, put somebody else in there. It's just like editing too. Sometimes I feel, it's there's no, like, I'm sure you can have processes, a process to like do things a certain way and quality, but it's difficult.
It is. It's really difficult, and creating the business model I feel like creating a really good business model, you need to have that team in anything.
Yeah.
In anything. And I also felt like hopefully, hopefully my kids could take on Sky. Hopefully the company could be run by somebody else one day that's better than me.
Yeah.
Like it's not like Jason has the best ideas always. I also have to understand that I have my prime time, the peak of my time, and I know that eventually at one point I have to pass the hat to somebody better than me.
Well,
You know what I mean?
you're actually building a business
Yeah.
and running an actual business and an actual company by itself. And this is not just your job. This is a business that you're running. And that's why I admire you guys, because I have seen you going from like nothing to like,
Let's get in there.
and it just and you guys keep changing and I wouldn't say changing. You guys keep innovating yourself to get to the next step.
Yeah, I mean, I keep on. I like to stay within my ground.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna offer another service that's like, something totally off.
Yeah.
I just try to perfection the team, perfection my deck of cards, perfection anybody around that's helping us, and that's it. Just keep on going.
Yeah. Well, listen, as we finish, so we start finishing, and just want to know what is. I mean, you kind of said it, but what is that next big thing that you have in mind? Do you know right now, or do you just kind of like see where it goes? Like, is there one very big goal for you and Pao and for the whole team at Sky?
I think, I think having the new office in Hackensack has really helped us grow a lot throughout these past 6 months. 5 months now. It opened like this energy of like bunch of new customers. I mean, I've been getting leads from Dubai. Like people from Dubai want to open a restaurant in New York City. They're calling me to like, hey, listen, how can we do something?
Yeah.
I think first, number one is the family. Like I want to dedicate a lot of time to my kids. So I want to grow with time. Like I want to make sure that my kids are first, and then eventually my company is going to keep on growing, right? So I really try to put that balance always. I feel like I could go 20 times faster, but that's going to take away from some area.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take away from that area. But a big thing that I think we're going to be working on is we're going to be adding more technology to it. The technology side of Sky really needs to, grow more. We're actually adding a booking service for tables. Like it's going to be a book reservation platform for restaurants. We're actually launching our aggregator app, which is like Uber Eats and DoorDash, but it's mainly focused on the land industry. So we're going to transform all these clients that we're currently having. We're going to put them on this platform that's going to expose them more, where you can book a table for that, where you can make a reservation, where you could do, communicate to the restaurant right away, write a review. So we're working on that area. And then we also have a coffee thing coming up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's going to be Sky Coffee.
Sky Coffee.
Yeah, so it's going to be a coffee base for offices and creative individuals that want a really good coffee. And we're going to create this brand that we're going to just open up the e-commerce and see where it goes.
Nice.
And that's one step. Yeah.
Do you sit down and think of all these ideas, or like when is the time that all these things come to Jason?
It's like little components that have grown. Like Sky Digital Order has grown. So it's like, all right, what else can we add to this? So it's like, all right, let's add the book a table now. Or let's do the aggregator platform. So it's like, these are like little babies that are like already, the seed is already there. We're just adding a little bit more water into it. So
Isn't it fun to like make those babies grow?
Yeah, the coffee thing was literally, I was at the right place at the right time, and I met somebody that imports and exports coffee, really good friend. Now we talk. Now we're like talking about everything that we could do, and now we're working on this coffee thing, which is cool because we drink a lot of coffee at the office, So hopefully I'll bring you a little bit of it, but I also try to bring these ideas to the table with the right time. I mean, I could give you a bunch of more stuff that we're working on, but
We'll be here for a while.
we'll be here for a while. But no, I also like to prioritize our tasks.
Yeah. Well, listen, I thank you. Thank you for coming. I know you're a busy guy. Thank you for all the insights. I mean, this has been great, and definitely, I really want to make it out there. Talk to everyone, talk to the whole team. I think you guys are doing an amazing job, and these are stuff that I personally learn. I like to learn from other people, and definitely you and Pau and the whole team there. I have learned from you guys. So
thank you. But we got to do your logo too.
Yeah. We
gotta sit down and do this, man. Like,
let's do it. I'm down.
All right,
I'm down because
we gotta book it.
I can tell you that my idea of a logo, I've always fantasized with something like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and like something like that.
All right, we can do it.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Thanks a lot, bro.
Right,
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.